Good afternoon and welcome to SCAN. My name is Tracy Wolfman. I'm a registered nurse. I am the owner of We Care Adult Care in Middletown, New Jersey, and I am the board president of SCAN. I am here today on Welcome to SCAN with our guest, Rosemarie Peters, who is the surrogate in Monmouth County. Rosemarie is in her 15th year as the role, and prior to that, she served as mayor and as member of the Township Committee in Middletown for 18 years. A long time, Rosemarie.
It is a long time, but it went quickly.
It went quickly. Well, that means you like what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think that many people, or I shouldn't say I don't think that many people are familiar with the work of the Surrogates Office because we value your work immensely in the senior care industry. Can you give us a brief rundown on the services that you offer?
Yeah, actually, I think you're correct in that many people are not aware of the Surrogates Office or what the Surrogate Office does. I think most people who are aware of us have had to probate an estate. Someone close to them has died, they have a will to probate, or they need to have somebody appointed to handle the business end of the estate. But we're actually both a part of county government and part of the court system. It's the surrogates court, and we also serve the superior court probate part. So we handle a lot of estate matters, guardianships of minors, guardianships of incapacitated persons, conservatorships, and adoptions. Adoptions that are ready to go into court are filed with the surrogates office, and then we schedule it for a hearing in the family part. So everything that we do here is a court-related matter.
And that's a lot of components to manage.
A lot of variety, and we deal with thousands of families every year. And basically they're families in crisis or families at a difficult time of their lives. And that's what makes the job so rewarding. I think people are very grateful for the service we're able to give them. I have a wonderful staff. They're really caring and helpful people. And I just hear back from a lot of people who come in here how well they were treated and how happy they were to be treated that way.
And especially when you're solving those problems for them during that crisis time in their life, which is, just a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Yeah, it is.
Rosemarie, what are the most important documents that people should attend to while they're still able? I mean, as a nurse, I'm a preacher of that. And I don't think a lot of people really know the significance and the importance of having these documents in order. I was having a discussion with somebody the other day, and they said when you turn 18, it should be a mandatory obligation to get your papers. But most people don't think of it that way.
They don't think of it, certainly they don't think of it when they're 18, but they don't even think of it when they're 50 or 60. They think these are things for old people or people who are starting to fall apart. They're really documents that everybody should have, and they are a power of attorney, an advance health directive, and a will. The power of attorney and the advance health directive are to be used while you're still alive. The will is to be used after you die. And each one has its purpose and its function and kicks in at a different point in time.
Right, but they should always have them handy.
Well, they should always have them handy. And actually, whoever is being appointed through those documents is to know where they are and where they can put their hands on them, because when they're needed, those are the people who are going to have to use them to accomplish what those documents are intended to be used for.
Correct. When does an advance health directive take effect?
The advance health directive is to be used if decisions have to be made about your health care at a time when you're not capable of making those decisions. So the advance health directive usually comes in two parts. The first part is the appointment of a healthcare proxy, the person who's going to make those decisions on your behalf. And the second part is the instruction directive, where you give that person some direction in terms of what kinds of life-saving intervention would you want to be given. if a decision has to be made, such as hydration or ventilation, that sort of thing. And people have very different and strong feelings about that. It amazes me. Yeah, my husband and I have totally different attitudes. My health directive says, give me everything you got, because I'm an optimist by nature. And I know sometimes there's just a small chance that something's going to work, but I want to be in that percentage of people who are successful in responding to treatment. My husband, on the other hand, is a pull the plug guy and tells me, no, I really don't want any intervention. I don't want to be kept alive artificially. So, you know, we both have strong feelings, but very different feelings. So your healthcare representative is supposed to honor your wishes when they're making decisions on your behalf. I think it's important to have a seat at the table at that point in your life.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, when we talk about these documents that are so important and people really need to have them, you know, it also, I was at a seminar not too long ago and we were having a discussion, you know, your funeral, and not to be so morbid, but it's your last hurrah, so you should be in the driver's seat of that too. But somebody at the funeral home was telling me, you know, families come over here and they run to the store quickly to get an outfit for them to wear. And, you know, it's just last minute decisions that are rushed when, you know, you can really be in charge of those decisions.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 3 documents, power of attorney, advanced health directive, and then a person's will. Do you want to go into how the will, the distribution of someone's property when they die?
Yeah,
So
first let me mention that each one of these is a form of substitute decision making. So the power of attorney is to allow someone to make financial decisions on your behalf if you're not capable of doing it. So they could handle your banking, make sure your bills get paid, you know, check your mail to see if there's anything in there that needs to be attended to on your behalf. And you can set up a power of attorney so it takes effect now if you feel you need the help now, or it can take effect later if you should become incapacitated. So my power of attorney is what's called a springing power of attorney. It will only take effect should I become incapacitated and should a doctor be willing to certify that I'm incapacitated. So I have a power of attorney, but it has no effect now because I still have the capacity to handle my own affairs. The healthcare directive we've already talked about. The will is the document that will allow you to dispose of whatever property you own when you die in a way that you want it to be disposed of. If you don't have a will, then the law will determine how your property is distributed through what's called intestate succession. And so it depends on who do you leave behind, what's their relationship with you. There are ways other than a will for you to leave property to individuals. The will only takes care of property that's in your name alone, and there's no other way for it to be accessed or distributed. So if you have a beneficiary of an insurance policy, that doesn't pass through your will. It goes to the beneficiary of the policy. Same if you have like a CD where you have a payable on death designation, that will go directly to that person. So what's left to pass through the will is anything that's in your name alone that has no other way of being transferred or accessed.
So we're going to suggest to our viewers that they stay on top of those 3 documents. So they have them available. Whoever they leave in charge knows where they may be able to find those. We had a story one time where the father-in-law left a note in 1,000 places. The will is in the vault. This is in the vault, but nobody knew where the vault was. The son found out a year later when he got a bill, even though he checked numerous banks, he got a bill for another bank that had a box in it. So, but they already had to go, the vault. They already went through probate because they couldn't find the original will. So
that has happened here.
Yes, people have to know.
Yeah.
So we've been in a pandemic and your office is still moving full speed ahead, doing all of these things to help people. Tell us a little bit about how that works now, so our viewers know that you're still available and open and ready for them.
Yes, we are absolutely available. We've never closed, not even for a single day. We tried 6 weeks alternating staff, half and half, to allow us to social distance. We found that we were so busy that we just couldn't keep up with the work. So since the beginning of May, we've been open every day, full staff. People can't come into the Hall of Records, and we closed our satellite offices, but we're here every day. We're on the phone constantly, helping people and talking to people. We're using the mail, we're using the internet, we're scanning documents. People are dropping signed documents off at the Hall of Records. We have a drop box in the lobby. You can't come in beyond the lobby, but you can drop off anything that you've already had executed. And so we've probably probated more than 4,000 estates since
a lot of estates during a downtime.
Yeah, we've been very busy, and we haven't had to turn anybody away and say, sorry, we can't help you.
Right.
So we're very pleased. We've fielded over 35,000 phone calls. They actually count the number of calls that come into our number, over 35,000 phone calls.
35,000 phone calls?
Yes.
Oh, I don't even know how one would manage that. With how many staff do you have in there?
There are 16 of us.
It's a lot of phone calls.
It's a lot of phone calls. It is, but we pride ourselves on providing helpful and compassionate service to people. So we know that people are struggling if they're calling our office, and we want to be sure to help them.
Right. I mean, it's such a time of need, and for you to have that compassion after all your years, and it sounds like your staff is just as compassionate. So I would encourage our viewers in Monmouth County to reach out if they should need your services, and that you're a friendly face and a warm and welcoming, right?
Thank you. I think
yes,
we feel that way about this office.
Well, I think that most people don't realize that a surrogate's office exists, or what their need is going to be at that time, or that they need the surrogate's office.
Well, you don't plan to use us in advance. It's a sort of thing, when the need arises, it arises, and then you deal with it.
Right, but we like our viewers out there to know that you are available. And where's your office located? So they might know that.
Right in the middle of Freehold, right at the light in the center of town. If you're coming from the eastern part of the county, it'll be on your right. If you're coming from the western part of the county, it'll be on your left. It looks like a courthouse, the building, because it was originally the Monmouth County Courthouse.
Right.
The courthouse is 2 blocks up the street. But it's right in the center of town. You can't miss us, and we're on the first floor.
And your hours of operation?
8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
Okay. Is it closed for lunch at all?
No.
Oh, okay. So people can come anytime.
Well, they're not coming into our office, though. They would only come here if they were dropping something off.
Right. So they can drop things.
Put it in the mail.
They can drop things off during those hours
in the lobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just some miscellaneous questions that people may ask, I'm going to throw out there. And if you have any others, how long does it typically take to probate a will?
It kind of depends on whether the will is fully legally compliant.
Okay.
Now we could probably do it in a week to a week and a half because of the mail going back and forth. If there are issues and problems, if you have to get signatures from family members, maybe out of state, you know, that could take longer. So it really varies a lot from one estate to another. If there's no will, it could take even longer, because then before we can name anyone to handle the estate, we need to know what the probate assets are and what the value of them is. So that takes a lot more work. I mean, that should be an incentive to people to get a will.
Right.
Because really it is a much simpler, quicker process. Generally speaking, if you've got the original of the will, that means it has the original signatures on it, needs to be witnessed by 2 witnesses, and all of the signatures should be notarized. Those are the main things that sometimes get in the way of probating a will. People have a will, they think they're good to go, but they didn't do it properly. We get a lot of do-it-yourself wills in which people make small but fatal mistakes in how they do it, how they execute it.
That's a perfect question. And I know people do that because they think they're saving themselves money. And in the end, a lot of times, what is your advice on that do-it-yourself, print off the internet will?
Don't.
Okay.
It's basically my advice. I'm not saying that people haven't done it correctly and that we haven't probated those wills, because we have. What I'm saying is that very often people don't understand the basic requirements for a valid will. Maybe they'll only get 1 witness. That's not enough. I can't admit that will to probate if it only has 1 witness who witnessed them either signing the will or whom you told, this is my will, I signed it. Sometimes people will get 1 witness and a notary. We don't generally consider the notary to be a witness.
Right.
So that has sometimes snagged a will or delayed our ability to probate it, because then they have to find the notary. We have to get an affidavit from the notary as to whether they were aware of what they were actually witnessing. If you go into a bank, the person is witnessing your signature. That's basically what they're witnessing. They don't know whether that's a will or whether it's something else. So those are the kinds of situations we get into when people try to do it themselves and they just don't quite get it right.
So the best advice is to hire an attorney and have the will done properly, because a lot of them can be simple enough.
A simple will is fine. As long as it's executed properly, it has the right number of signatures. We can't admit a copy of a will to probate. Very often people will bring in a copy and we send them to find the original, and they'll say, well, I don't know where the original is. Maybe the attorney has it. Sometimes they have to get in touch with the attorney because the attorney does have the original. Other times the attorney will say, no, I gave it to my client. And then they're stuck trying to find the original. That's why it's important that people know the original of the will is critical, and their executor needs to know where it is. If they've got it hidden away in their home, they need to let the executor know, this is where I hid it.
Right.
The attorney has the original. They just ought to put a little sticky note on the copy and say, you can find the original at such and such's office. And, you know, those are important things that people don't really give much thought to.
They don't give much thought to the copies. I mean, what if it's an out-of-state attorney? What if the attorney passed away? I mean, there could be so many complications to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the will was done 40 years ago and they've never updated it, and the attorney is long gone. So you're not going to find that will.
Right. That's another good point. How often do you think somebody should be updating their will? I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah. The rule of thumb is you should review it every 10 years or when there's a significant life change, a birth, a death, a marriage, those kinds of things. Or if you've changed your mind about how you want to distribute things. We sometimes have wills that are older wills where people will list specific property, you know, a car or a ring or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won't update the will, but they'll sell the car, or they'll give the ring to the person that they were going to give it to in the will, or they'll give it to somebody else.
And there's nothing to give, right?
There's nothing to give. The other problem we come across very often is that people like to update their wills by writing on the will by hand, either taking somebody out of the will, changing the amount they're going to give to somebody, changing the percentage, the way they're going to distribute it. If somebody brings a will in and it has handwriting that changes the distribution, we generally have to send that into Superior Court.
Wow.
I can't admit that will to probate. So people should keep their hands off their will after it's done. If they want to make a change to it, have a codicil done. A codicil is an amendment to a will, and it's very specific. It mentions the date of the will that it's going to amend. and the change that it's going to make to that will. And then that becomes part of the will, and it's executed in the same formal way that a will is. You can't just make a codicil by jotting something on a piece of paper and having your signature notarized. That won't pass muster. We've rejected any number of codicils for that reason. They weren't done the way a will is done. They were done as if they were just an afterthought. That's not good enough. A codicil could be 1 page long. It could change 1 paragraph in the will, but it's done with formality, and it refers to the date of the will that it amends.
And again, 2 signatures and a notary on that codicil, correct?
All the signatures should be notarized, and the notary should note who signed in front of them. That's another thing that we have to deal with, that notaries will just put their stamp and their signature on the bottom, but they won't mention the names of the people who actually came before them and signed in front of them. So we then have to assume that nobody signed in front of them if they don't mention who signed in front of them. So then we have to get witness proofs. So this delays the whole process. If it's an old will, very often they can't find the witnesses. So I mean, do it right. That's the bottom line. Get it done right.
Get it done right. Rosemarie, I can't tell you how helpful this information is to our viewers, and I hope that people who get to see it get to share this. Get your most important documents in order, have them signed properly, have them notarized properly, and have them done by a legal authority properly, right?
Good advice.
Advanced directives in place and your codicils in place. And also, and the power of attorney. Thank you. Probably first and foremost, you start with the power of attorney, right?
Yep.
And the Surrogates Office in Monmouth County is open for drop-off during the pandemic. They've never slowed down or missed a beat. And 3,500 calls, you said?
35,000 calls.
1,000 calls. I keep
4,000
these numbers. Oh my goodness. So if you do have a question after getting all this great information with Rosemarie Peters, the Monmouth County surrogate here today, you can certainly go online, look these things up, or contact her office because they are there answering the phones. And I really want to thank you, Rosemarie, for helping us get this information out, because it's so essential, especially to our senior population, for them to know that there's people out there that are available to educate others now too with this information. So thank you very much for coming on. Welcome to SCAN.
Take it from me, living with diabetes is no easy task, but I learned how to manage my health condition, and so can you. The Diabetes Self-Management Program is a 6-week self-management workshop created by Stanford University. The program provides you with proven strategies to manage your diabetes and reclaim your life. You will join an interactive and mutually supportive workshop whose success builds confidence to effectively manage your diabetes and allows you to maintain an active lifestyle. See how proper nutrition, exercise, and medication management help you increase your energy, manage side effects, and keep you feeling in control. You will not only receive a copy of this book, but you will get guidance and support from others like you living with diabetes.
The Diabetes Self-Management Workshop meets once a week for 6 weeks. This innovative workshop is offered to all Monmouth County residents. Call the number on your screen to register or get additional information at scannj.org.
Hello, and welcome back to Welcome to SCAN. On this segment of Welcome to SCAN, we are blessed to have our Program Director, Andrea Tarr. Andrea Tarr has been SCAN's Program Director for the last 19 years. And how lucky are we to have you? She's a master trainer for both of our evidence-based programs, Diabetes Self-Management and Take Control of Your Health. She is part of the creative team that produces SCAN's Lunch and Learns, an awesome job, co-host of the Creative Conversation, and co-host of Scan FYI, which was evolved during the pandemic, which was a home run, right?
Right.
So welcome, Andrea Tarr. And
What an
today,
intro. Thank you.
well, you know, you're big shoes to fill. 19 years and still with Scan, and a testament to all the good things that are going on at Scan. But we wanted to specifically talk today, Andrea, about the brain health fair, because people have this, and I think more so now more than ever. I mean, we all think about our brain health, but everyone's been locked up and
Well, you know
isolated.
something? I don't know if we should be thinking about our brain health, but I'm
Right.
not sure if we are. Our mental health, our brain health. So
You're right.
Scan's-
Maybe we're more mental health now. You tell us.
Oh, excuse me. You know what? I have to. Sorry.
That's quite all right. It's been a long day.
It's a live show. Anything could happen. So we've been doing brain health fairs at Scan for, I don't know, like maybe 4 or 5 years now.
Mhm.
And of course, this year is going to be very different because this year is a virtual brain fair. Another COVID blessing bestowed upon us.
Right.
So while we will adhere to a pretty similar format, but let me also let everyone know the Brain Health Fair is April 8th.
Okay. April 8th.
And
Mark your
April 8th at 1
calendars.
o'clock. Again, it's online, it's virtual. And to get the most updated information, everyone should call the office, go to Scan's website. There'll be a lot of info in the next several weeks.
Follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, it's definitely going to all be out there. So the thing with Scan really is, you know, our mantra, our motto, stay active, stay healthy, stay connected. And that means many, many different things. And really, that is also for your brain.
Right.
Everything about Scan is leading, you know, sort of under the heading of brain health. You want to be active. You want to move around. You want to stimulate your brain. You want to get a good night's sleep. You want to eat well. And
Right.
of course, you want to be connected and maintain whatever kind of social life you can during these COVID times. And remember that everything that's good for your body is good for your brain. And if it's not good for your body, it's not going to be good for your brain. And that's an important thing to remember.
It is important.
You know,
things.
the Brain Health Fair is going to kind of be a mind, body, spirit kind of a day. We
Mhm.
will typically have 2 keynote speakers. And I do want to leave a little suspense out there. I'll let you know to people, so I won't say exactly who's going to be there. And then we'll have some breakout sessions. Maybe we'll have some chair yoga, some meditation, but everything good for the brain, because brain health is what Scan's about.
That's wonderful information, Andrea. And I'm so happy that you were able to give us that little teaser. So now we'll have to look forward to who this special guest is, which I don't know. And I'm going to look forward to on April 8th at 1 o'clock on attending the virtual Brain Health Fair given by Andrea Tarr and the Scan team.
Right.
So wonderful information. I want to thank all our viewers for listening to both of our segments today on Welcome to Scan. Until next time, call in, give your suggestions, give any ideas that you might have for future. Andrea is great at creating new events, so she could probably whip something up if you request it. And I want to thank you, Andrea, for coming on to fill us all in.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Until next time, we'll see you. Stay well, stay active, stay healthy, and stay connected.
Right, absolutely.
I'm your host, Tracy Wolfman, here with Andrea Tarr. Have a good day. Bye-bye.